Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Signcast. I'm Madeline, the host and Synup's content and community manager. Today, I'm talking with Amy Aitman about all things content, all things authenticity. How should businesses or individuals be deciding what kind of content to devote their resources to?
That's a really good question. And I mean, I think like anything else, if having like short form video or videos is new to you, you can always like test it. You can always go and,
Hmm.
do a test. But it's like, what are your, like, where are your audience? Like, where are they living? Where are they breathing? What are they doing? And what kind of content are they already consuming? I always like to start with that because if your audience is on TikTok, and they love video and that video to, that touch point, then video is really powerful. I think I think most brands now have to do video. Like I don't think there's an if and or but. Like you can't just
Right.
produce written content anymore. Um but moving into new types of content or working with influencers, like those are big decisions for brands. Like I think that it's not an easy but I do think it's a matter of like where our customers live and where our people live. And digitally, like there's a lot of places where you can have content touch points. So I guess it
Mhm.
depends on your brand and what you want to do.
Right, right. Yeah, I feel like larger brands tend to suffer when it comes to like this fast moving type of environment that we're in now, like where
Hmm.
you have to be producing this content or like even choosing to branch into new content forms or new styles is like these big brands really suffer because yeah, you have to get approval. You might not have like it's not just like one person and their small team deciding we're going to do this. Like you have to go through all these hoops and
It's
it's
oh,
really
yeah, it's
it
a lot.
sucks.
I mean, that's kind of like I was in corporate for a long time, and I remember, like, even doing one page of one guide took several meetings, several things, and by the time you're done, you're like, "Have I even created this?" Like, there's, like, so many things, and I always think about that when I think about how, like, fast we create content and we really try to just get things out there when we get things out there, and, yeah, that approval process is like, I think brands have a disadvantage with that. I think
Right.
that there's so many scrappy content producers out there. It's never been easier to create content and get it out there and have distribution. It's like the easiest time in history, I think. You can build an audience on name your platform, Google, TikTok, YouTube, uh, Twitter. Twitter's really great still. That
Right.
might be controversial to say.
No,
You can build a great
Twitter's still
audience
good.
and you in a year you can build a new audience.
Mhm.
And you don't need the power of, a huge content creation team and marketing team and digital team behind you. There's a lot of scrappy content producers out there that are doing really well.
Right. Yeah, yeah, I love how accessible it is just to build content either on your own or I see a lot of people building like these small content creation companies. It's so cool. Like there's so many different people who are just like making all this cool content and
Oh,
yeah, as
yeah.
like
It's
a
so it's really exciting. Like, in media, there's a lot of people still a lot of big players in media, and there's a lot of, like, those small, scrappy solo media. There's not a lot of people in between, but the barrier to entry is so easy, like, anyone can create content.
Mhm.
Like, I
Yeah.
follow somebody on, like Facebook and Instagram, and she does appliance repair, and she's got like green hair, and she's really fun to watch, and she makes appliance repair really, really interesting. And she just started creating, like, her passion was not creating content. Her
Mhm.
passion was appliance repair, like
I love
fixing
that.
appliances. And now she's a content creator. And that's like that keeps happening. That's going to keep happening. And it's really exciting as a content
Right.
producer. It's better,
Yeah.
it's fun, it's better content.
I
Like, I'd
agree. I
rather listen
agree.
to her talk about how to fix a dryer than, some dryer company that's gonna use that, right?
Right,
Pretty
right. Yeah,
exciting.
yeah, I think there's a lot of, like, demonization of, like, content creation is so new, especially from like the kind of influencer perspective. Like that's such a new thing and that's such a new job to just kind of be a person who gets paid to tell your audience about different products or different brands.
Mhm.
And I feel like people are still so skeptical about it. Like, oh, like why should this person be paid to tell me to buy this dress? Like that's so silly. But yeah, if the content creator to start with is actually this person who's so passionate about this one thing, whether it's like gardening or whether it's appliance repair or what have you, down the road, like I would trust this green-haired appliance repair lady to tell me what dryer to buy, you know? Like I don't know what dryer to
Yeah.
buy. She probably knows. Like
I think that's it. I think that, like, all signs point to Google highlighting authors and who the content comes from. I think audiences are demanding to know, like, to see real people that are really passionate. I think where the influencer thing goes wrong is when people are just doing it to sell brands. That's just like
Right.
another way of, another branding exercise. It's where can you back up your expertise with real experiences and stories and like really show that you are in this world. I think
Mhm.
that's what audiences are demanding. And that's what we really try to hire when we hire writers, build content teams from all levels. In editorial, we try to hire those people in for writers, for video creators, anyone that's got their pulse on content. I want them to be a niche expert. I want them to be obsessed and live in this world.
Right, right. I think that's something that Google has done a great job at, as we've seen, especially if we've seen like these AI generated content platforms kind of coming to
Yeah.
the surface, and people are like, "Uh-oh, like now you don't need a content writer anymore. You have this robot to write for you." Like I've seen a lot of people on Twitter testing it out, and Google almost always knows. Like Google knows, like this is not a person. Like this stuff is not ranking. Like they
Oh, yeah,
can
and
they can
Google really,
tell.
like, took a stand on AI. Like, they are, if your site is an AI generated site, like, disclaimer, you should not be getting ranked in Google, and if you are,
Mhm.
you will get hit one day. But I like to say, like, AI is, like, the big topic. I mean, I have experimented with AI, like, the Chat GPT is amazing, it's fun. You can tell it to write, Twitter threads and meta descriptions and ask them questions, and the outputs are really interesting, and I think obviously what you input into it does make a difference. But the outputs can sound really convincing, can be
Mhm.
very, very convincing. Like, I am working on a content marketing article right now, and for, shits and giggles, let's say, I'm like, what is like define like give me 10 examples of content marketing for SaaS, or why is content marketing important for ecom? And it sounds like it's right, but it's not
Mhm.
right. And
Yeah,
there's
it's just, like, a little
no
off.
yeah, it's a little off, and it's still like, and I mean, it's not like it's wrong, but I'm an expert and I can tell, like, like, yeah, people say that all the time, and they're pulling from the resources that we have. They're pulling from the information that we have. It's not something that, lives and breathes, where it's like if I have a writer that's creating a piece of content, even if they're I wouldn't we don't want our writers to use AI, but even if they were saying use AI for the outline, for example, right? My expert is going to say that doesn't belong in this. Like, that doesn't make
Right.
any sense. So there's a lot of like SEO tools that are like this, and I've really said this for a long time. Everyone has the same SEO tools. I know there's new ones that come out all the time that promise new things, and AI is it's going to get better. It is getting better. There are in between content production stages where automation and AI makes a lot of sense, and it's really great. But I think for originality and experience, I don't think you can AI that. Like, you can't really cheat it. Like, you can't an AI, no matter how great it is, and how, I mean, because I know AI can like read tone and change tone and all that kind of stuff. And um, I think that's exciting. I think there's use cases for it for sure. But I think we're still gonna need that, hands-on,
Right.
and you can't find stories and anecdotes with AI. They live in people's heads, they live in people's lives, they live in people's experiences.
Exactly.
Um, it's funny because I think AI could mimic that, Because even with like plagiarism, we've had issues with plagiarism and people that are like use content spinners before.
Mhm.
And our writers, there was a couple of really clever writers that were like borrowing people's experiences to write about it in their articles, like stealing their, and
So
even then it
strange.
was like, yeah, there was like a writer for one of our auto sites, and he was like, yeah, I load up my van and put fishing gear in. And my editor was like, he doesn't go fishing. He doesn't even live near the ocean. Like he's totally borrowing this experience.
Oh my
And
god.
even then it's like I think humans, I think we're really good at being able to judge like AI generated versus like real human. So
Mhm.
like in our with our sites, we really do lean into the experts. We lean into the real life experiences like using products and all that stuff. I do think AI has a place in content, I which is crazy. Like I'm not even against like programmatic SEO. I think for quick answers, for definitions, but I also like really, really encourage people to know that it's still not expert driven. Like it might sound really good and might look good, smell good, but like I mean look good, but something's off. And an
Right.
expert will be able to tell you. So I think without having that expert level editorial and writing and actually doing the things, it's just AI content's going to be what it is, no matter how good it is, no matter how much it can mimic someone's voice and tone
Right. I
or
agree with that.
pull data. So we'll see. But I think it has a place. And it's all the rage now. Like on Twitter, I see so many screenshots.
So many.
And I am one of those people that are been in the tool and asking like, tell me my life goals for 2023, create a business plan, like, and it's fun. It's really fun. I think it's getting better. Like we even with AI image creation, like
Mhm.
that is getting way better. Um, so it's interesting, but I
Yeah,
don't think it's gonna replace humans quite yet.
definitely. Does it frustrate you that people have been saying that? I've seen a few people who
Oh,
have
that AI is going to take over. I have friends that are in content that use AI.
Yeah.
And either as a part of their I have friends that have like created entire AI websites to see if they rank. And I know that there's still sites that are, AI generated. I know that a lot of times they have that human touch. But I just kind of think like I kind of like I love the debates. I love thinking about it, but I kind of think is the juice worth the squeeze? Like
Mm,
is it that much easier to create an AI created website? Is it that much more cost effective than is to find people that are really passionate, and there's so many in betweens when it comes to content creation, scaling content. Like we produce between like 600, 1,000 articles a month,
mhm.
and none of them are AI generated.
Yeah.
And so it's for me, it's like, yeah, could I produce 1,000 pieces of AI generated content way faster than human content? Sure. But is it like, what's the end point? Like, what's that going to help? You know,
Right. Right. Yeah. I feel like doing stuff like cutting corners like that is never it's just not gonna end well. Like
there's so
people won't
many
be
other
able to
places
tell.
to automate in content operations that when it comes to the actual like content itself, which is our product, that's our entire product is content. Like that's what we, that's our thing. Like there's so many other ways to automate, there's so many other things to say to cut corners.
Right.
I'm really passionate about this, and I'm really passionate about like a lot of people that get into content or start buying content sites or start getting into it. They want the shortcuts. They're like, well, if 100 articles can get me this much traffic, 10,000 articles can get me this much traffic, and how am I going to get there? And I just don't think that it's that easy, and I think
Right.
that people make that mistake a lot. And if you're not getting hit with Google this year, you will get hit. Because even good sites are getting hit with the
Mhm.
updates. So it's just like if you want to take it's like what kind of company do you want? If you want to take shortcuts and try the easy way, like AI can probably help with a lot of things. But if you want to build a lasting brand, a lasting company, content that survives and that you are proud to share and present you know, from your brand, then there's not a lot of shortcuts when it comes to actual content creation.
Right. Right.
And
And then one last oh, sorry.
oh yeah, no, I can keep talking about all this stuff, but yeah, no, we're like getting up to time now too. So
Yeah.
so much fun. I could ramble on all day.
I know. Yeah, it's so fun to talk about. There's just it's such a deep subject, like so much there's so much like development going on and so many new creators and so many new updates and so many ways to do it. It's like such a fascinating thing. I totally agree.
Oh yeah, I would say the last 18 months, even the last 3 to 6 months have been some of the toughest, most exciting months in content, especially when it comes to Google updates. And it's really made me, like, really think about our processes, how we hire, who we hire, how we write, how we create content, if I even wanna be in content. Like,
Right.
it's the goalpost for quality has changed so much in the past 6 months even. A quality content 2 years ago is no longer A quality content. It's
Mhm.
like C content, and when you have hundreds we have 135 content websites. When you
Mhm.
have hundreds of websites, you have to make this tough decisions about, like, do we go back and refurbish and polish and fix the content we created 5, 6 years ago? Um, or do we, create new content? Or what do we do? Like, these kind of decisions are tough because the content quality. So on that side of things, on the business side of things, it's really, really tough because even people that are trying to do the right thing, create quality content, my best class content 2 years ago is no longer best in class, you
Right.
know? So moving forward, it's like, but as a content, as someone who loves reading content and my entire world is content, this is really exciting because it's like,
Mhm.
finally, I think the best content's gonna surface in Google. Google's really trying, and they're taking down entire websites for thin content, for content that's not authoritative, for content that's, like, fake, and, the helpful content update is an ongoing, thing. It's not just something
Right.
that starts and stops, it's something that is ongoing. I've seen it on some of our sites where, we're hit when it's not even an update, and that's the helpful content update. It's like, and also there's layer and layer and layer what Google's doing. It excites me as someone in content, but it's also very challenging to
Right.
actually
Yeah.
do the things you wanna do.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's tough to navigate like how do I still keep producing great content like where like how do you decide like whether you should go back and refurbish versus write something new?
Sometimes it's strictly like a budgeting decision. And I mean, I really am a big believer in, like, focusing on your strengths.
Mhm.
And we really do like to say, okay, when we start a new site, we put it out into the world, we give it our best shot. We put 100 or so, 150 pieces of content out there. And then kind of let Google and our readers to tell us what we're authority in. And that's like, not only is it the sites that we have authority, but it's also like the silos of the sites, the clusters of the sites. I really like to build into that. But as somebody who also, like, you fall in love with these sites, you fall in love with the content that you're creating. And there's some sites that have been hit that I, like, personally would love to go back and just be like, we know so much more now. Like, I have better experts now. I have
Right.
better content creators now. We have better processes now. I would love to spend time fixing it, but it's also like a budgeting thing. It's like, what do I need to fix, this site? And if you have one site, or you're, a huge e-commerce brand or a huge company, and your company content, like, that's all that you have, you don't have a choice. You have to find a way to improve it. You have to find a way to optimize your content. You have to go back and, and really look at the search intent, and really look at the quality of the writing and who's presenting it, and you have to do that. With a portfolio of websites, we are fortunate to say, like, if we can say, we're going to focus on this site because it's growing like gangbusters, I'm going to leave the site alone because it's been hit and we don't have the
Mhm.
resources to go back and fix it. But yeah, so it is kind of a double-edged sword. But if I in a perfect world, and if I had unlimited budgets, I would fix everything. I would be optimizing, we would optimize and refurbish and update content all the live long day. Like, ideally,
Right.
that's what you need to do.
Someone give
But
Amy more budget, please.
someone give me more budget.
She
Love
wants
it,
to
love it.
update. She wants to.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's exciting and, like, that can work, and I mean, it would be really fun to be in a bigger, larger organization with a huge, content, budget, and also, like, where you don't have a chance. You have to win with content.
Right,
We can do smaller tests, and it doesn't end the company when one of our sites gets hit. Whereas if you have a larger brand and you have one website that brings in your entire company, then you don't have a choice, you have to update. So
right.
that's kind of exciting. It's for me, that's exciting because I'm like, oh, there's so many things I would fix, and you know, uh pull sites back from life strategies are really fun. But often we just focus on our strengths and double down on our strengths. And that actually takes a lot of discipline too.
Mhm. Right, right. Yeah, and we I don't wanna take up too much of your time, so I'll just ask one final question, which is, like, what's the most frustrating part for you of being in this space?
Most frustrating part is when I can't, like, when I feel like I'm doing everything right with content, with the site, with technical SEO, with all of the ingredients, and something doesn't work. That's
Mhm.
really frustrating. And I know that like, I've seen sites recover and we haven't even touched. I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that the algorithm this year has been rocky, but those downturns can be really soul crushing when you feel like you put your heart and soul into something, and the ups and downs can be really exciting, but they can be really, really soul crushing as well. And I
Mhm,
think those of us in content, it's like you have to love the process. You have to
mhm.
love the process of it. You have to love every single thing about it, because if not, like, it will crush you and you'll be like, there's got to be easier ways to make a living. But yeah, like, this year has just been a really up and down year, and I think Google's trying to figure things out, and I think there's just so many factors. Like, there's more creators, there's more competition, and that's not going to
Right.
stop. So you can either really get excited about it, which I try to, or you can let it crush you and be like, I do. There's other things, and I mean, we all have those days where you're in your favorite coffee shop and you're looking at the barista and you're like, "Oh, I would just love to be working here and talking to people every day and not having the ups and downs." And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I have those days as well. But then I have days where I get to talk to you and I get reminded about all the things that I love about content and what it's really
Mhm.
given in my life and what it's really brought to me, and getting to work with the most creative, interesting people that will ramble on and on and on about whatever passionate niche they're in. Um, that's really what motivates me. And I try to focus on that and try not to let the ups and downs of Google algorithms or trends or search volume or ad revenue, try not to let that affect my day to day motivation to keep going. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, obviously, there's been enough excitement to keep you in the space for
yeah.
a long time. So hopefully, the call of the barista lifestyle does not claim you too soon.
Yeah.
I've been there too. Yeah. Yeah. It was so great talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on the Signcast. It was so much fun talking to you about all things content, all things authenticity. Um,
Thanks.
yeah,
This
this
is
has
so
been
much fun,
incredible.
and reach out anytime. Like, I love nerding out about this. Like, this is my thing to nerd out about.
Yeah.
So it really is fun for me. And yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. We'll see everybody next time on the Signcast.